Thanks for staying with us. We're going to start with the nation. PDP crisis, BOT's move to unite Atiku, Wike collapses. Access Bank acquires majority stake in Angolan bank. FG registers ASU's breakaway faction, Konwa. World Bank predicts 1% reduction in Nigeria's growth. NNPC. Nigeria owes NNPCL 1.3 trillion naira, Kyari alleges. Police Commission okays dismissal of 7 officers. And pay rise coming for Lagos workers, says Sanwo-Olu. All right, which picture are we starting with?
Catch me when the Oga Patapata, I don't know what his new position is. Okay, now he's the CEO of NNPC. Mele Kyari said that in answering to the non-remittances, he said that the NNPC is not owing the country. The country is owing NNPC 1.3 trillion naira. And
what's again?
Yes, it was before the House Committee on. The Senate Joint Committee on Petroleum Downstream and Petroleum Upstream and Gas in Abuja, and he was answering them that we're not owing you. The country is owing NNPC 1.3 trillion. I read through the story back to back to understand how these debts arose or how come we're now owing an entity that's supposed to have been a revenue generating company for us over the years, and just this year became a limited company. But then he didn't have answers, and then he went on to talk about the oil theft, how they have been clamping down, how Nigeria is losing 600,000 barrels per day, and how they are clamping down. They've clamped down on 395 illegal refineries. They've deactivated them. They've destroyed about 274 reservoirs. And some 1,500 metal tanks, 49 trucks, and now they are doing more. And how it is normal to copy the Mexico model of securing Cambodia and Mexico model of securing pipelines, and which is what they are doing, and protecting infrastructure with the Niger Delta ex-militants arrangement that they have, and that's what they are doing. Hopefully, all of that will reduce what is being lost. But I want to understand very clearly how Nigeria is owing 1.3 trillion naira.
NNPC. That's scary. Okay. Yeah. So the Lagos State Governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, surprised the public servants with his announcement that a pay rise was coming. He said that he's doing this to cushion the effects of inflation, high prices of commodities, and rising cost of living experienced across, the world. So he, gave them this news when he visited the Secretariat at Lausa. I think that was yesterday. And he said they are going to be working hand in hand to see how this can be put into effect. So he also announced 25% salary increment for employees in the core establishment agencies. He said he's going to be working with the head of Service Ministry of Establishment, Training and Pensions, and the State Treasury Office to work out the modalities for this upward review. Workers were really excited. They were jubilating about it. He said now that they're going to be increasing their pay, they are expecting a boost in productivity, and they have to scale up their service delivery. That Lagos is more like a pace setter. They cannot wait for the federal government to do an increase before they do an increase. They are constantly, paying attention to the needs of their workers, and they've seen that it's been a struggle for people to actually move with the inflation that is happening. And so this is coming at the right time for them. They're also going to be increasing their fleet of buses. When he came into administration, they had to increase the fleet of buses to 35 buses that will be taking them from their homes to the office and take them back. So he's making plans to increase them as well. That's good news for Lagos State.
So let me give an update from PDP. So we've been talking about this issue between Governor Wike and Senator Ayu. So the chairman of the Board of Trustees, Adolphus Wabara, alongside other members of the BOT of the People, went to Port Harcourt to visit Governor Wike to even hear his side of the story. According to reports, they were in that meeting for about 5 hours, 4 of which Governor Wike spent explaining his own side of the story. After the meeting, Adolphus Wabara was the chairman of the Board of Trustees, was asked what happened. And he said that at least they were able to get better understanding of where Governor Wike is coming from. And they're going to go back to Abuja and still have a conversation and see how they can resolve. It's their first time speaking with Governor Wike directly in Port Harcourt, and now they have a better understanding of what his grouse is, and they will still go and meet and see how they can resolve it. But the good thing is that Governor Wike has specifically reiterated that he has absolutely no plans to leave the party. He and his allies will remain in the party, and they're hoping for peace, and that they were more interested in resolving the crisis than leaving the party, which is good news for the PDP.
That's great. Quickly, before we go, the Police Service Commission approved the dismissal of 7 senior police officers over their gross misconduct. The commission also approved the reduction in the rank of 10 other officers. The decision was taken during their 15th plenary meeting of the commission, which is expected to end tomorrow. So the dismissed officers are 1 Chief Superintendent of Police, CSP, a Superintendent of Police, SP, 5 Assistant Superintendents of Police, ASPs. The names were not, disclosed, but they are saying that they are going to ensure that they keep doing this to deter officers who go astray and, bring shame to the police. Okay,
moving on quickly to the Punch. 10 billion naira nomination fee scandal. IU chair's stormy meeting orders NWC members probe. 150 persons killed during the Ikoyi prison attack, says witness. NDA convocation. Osinbajo advocates local manufacture of arms and ammunition. Kanu mustn't die in detention. Ozekome writes Buhari. Hoodlums attack APC rally in Ibadan, injure supporters. Abiodun welcomes Amusan with multi-million naira property and 5 million naira. ASU knocks Ngige over factional groups registration. 3 scientists win Nobel Prize for breakthrough in quantum physics. Okay, story are we starting with?
So the Vice President, Yemi Osinbajo, spoke at the 32nd convocation and the graduation of 69 regular course cadets and postgraduate students of the Nigerian Defense Academy. The statement was titled, Osinbajo to NDA graduates, Innovation is critical in tackling security challenges. So he said that with the size and population of the country and the current security challenges, it's very important and has become very imperative to build Nigeria's indigenous national defense capabilities. And he said this will require investing in local capacity to manufacture armament. So they're going to find ways to invest and begin to manufacture our guns and ammunition that will be used to tackle insecurity. And he also, told the NDA graduates that they are right now facing a different country from 10 decades ago. There's a lot that has happened. Technology has moved. So they need to be very proactive. They need to apply critical thinking skills. They need to deploy technology in thinking up solutions on how they can solve the problem of insecurity in Nigeria. Just sort of encourage them.
All right. So go ahead, Nima.
Okay, the Ikoyi prison attack that happened last year. Some years back is still in question now. This happened in 2020, but presently an inquest is happening somewhere on Lagos Island at a magistrate court. And Mr. Christian Akara is supposed to be a witness in this matter, and he stated that 150 persons, no fewer than 150 persons, and it could be more, were shot by armed men who invaded the prisons. He said that at the time he was, volunteering as an English teacher under the Muharram Sisters NGO, and he was also in prison. But when this attack happened, they moved them, and he saw that they were shooting directly at prisoners. But how he would arrive at the total figure, considering that, he didn't handle the bodies, is something that amazed me. But then he stated categorically as a witness in that inquiry going on that 150 persons died. I hope that, the proceedings arrive at something much more believable.
In this life, just be successful at whatever you do, whatever you find doing, just do it well, because that is when you're recognized. Yeah. So the governor of Ogun State has recognized Ms. Amusan, who is the world champion, Commonwealth African 100 meters hurdles champion, Oluwatobi Amusan. So she was awarded 5 million naira and a house in Ijebu-Ode. And he said that the stadium, Ijebu-Ode Stadium, he will rehabilitate it, and he has spoken to the Minister of Sports to ensure that they quickly help to complete that stadium, because since she has said she wants to come home, he wants her to come home to come and be training in that stadium. So because of how they must renovate that stadium. And that's also awesome. Welcome other young girls to be able to use that stadium. It's encouraging young girls to be in sports. and that he's also making her the ambassador for sports within the state. Wow. So, I mean, it's a good thing, but hey, if she didn't become the world champion, she probably wouldn't.
But that's the Nigerian story now. We wait for you to go out there, make it, and then you
now celebrate.
We now celebrate you. We don't
so
celebrate
whatever
you
you're
for
doing,
you
even if it's pure water you're selling,
I'm not in love with Governor Abiodun right now. I'm not in love with that governor. I think it's so reactionary. Yes.
Governor Abiodun.
I need him to take more
proactive steps.
But YK definitely needs him to fix that road.
Exactly.
That much I can tell you.
Like
Let's go on a break. When we come back, we continue with our reviews. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. Moving on now to Vanguard. Strike. ASU aiding corruption in varsity, says Buhari. Obi rolls out agenda, vows to retool the governance and secure united Nigeria. Sanwo-Olu approves pay rise for Lagos workers. National Honours authentic list will be out soon, says federal government. Nigeria Air, FG raises alarm, warns Nigerians against fake recruitment websites. Detention, Nnamdi Kanu petitions Buhari seeks political solution. APC rally scores injured as auxiliary alleged attacks on Tinubu following supporters in Ibadan. And over 67% of women in Nigeria are anemic, says UNICEF. Okay, which story are we starting with?
So the nutrition specialist and the Oga at UNICEF says that over 67% of Nigerian women are anemic. This is at the workshop marked the effective management of first 1,000 days window of opportunity for every child, strategic prevention option. And she was saying that the first 9 months of pregnancy and 2 years immediately after pregnancy is extremely important in the life of a child, and that 67% of women in Nigeria are anemic. And for the purpose of childbearing, they will need to build up blood levels, otherwise some will die. This is a fact because, you know, the process of carrying pregnancy through to breastfeeding and all of that, and even to childbirth, involves a lot of blood. And, you know, that process of being a woman entirely, even the monthly cycle, all this cycle thing involves a lot of blood. I am someone that when I give birth, I lose so much blood. And, you know, one of those things that they usually will check while you're pregnant is how well you're doing. So it is of extreme importance for those who don't usually patronize proper hospitals to start to be careful around this, because you just hear, she gave birth, and the baby cried, and she even spoke to us, but she was so weak and then she died. It could be things like this. It's important to use proper medical facilities. Okay,
let me start with the Nnamdi Kanu story. So his lawyer, Mike Ozekome, SAN, urged President Buhari to immediately release unconstitutional, to direct his unconstitutional release from custody of the Department of the DSS, actually. He also said that that he is a British citizen and that he has undergone the worst treatment in custody. According to the petition, he says that his detention violates all known laws and norms of both international and domestic laws, and that it has also broken all Nigeria's obligations to binding international treaties. He said that President Buhari must correct this long-standing travesty, noting that he had complied with the law until he was brutalized by the police back in 2017. That's what caused him fleeing. So Michael Zekam was insisting that Kanu must not die in detention, that they should release him as soon as possible.
I agree with them. I think the trial should be expedited. I don't know why the trial is taking this long. The adjournments are just too long. It's making unnecessary sense. So yes, jumping bail is criminal. Try him, sentence him, and move on. Let us rest.
So the management of Nigeria Air Limited has raised an alarm over fake websites and links used for advertisements and recruitment of suspecting members of the public. So the Special Assistant Public Affairs to the Minister of Aviation, James Odaudu, in a statement yesterday was advising Nigerians to dismiss any notifications or invitations, noting that such is currently ongoing. They've been receiving messages to that regard. So he advised those who applied for the earlier official advertised positions to get authenticated information from the official website, which is www.nigeriaair.world. www.nigeriaair.world. And he said these so-called agents have created a host of fake websites and links, and they're using it to get submissions of applications from unsuspecting members of the public. So they are saying that for now, they are going to, they are not doing any form of tests, any form of interviews, any form of examinations now. If they have to do that, you have to get a letter. A letter will be written to those people who have pre-qualified and, met up with the criteria of the B737 requirements, and those ones will be contacted directly. It won't be announced publicly. So Nigerians should be very wary. So
the Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi has been campaigning in Michigan, United States, talking to Nigerians in diaspora, saying that Nigeria is not bereft of the required human capital, but he will reduce the cost of governance, and also that turning Nigeria around would require sacrifice, but above all, adaptive, transformative, and purposeful leadership that will be imbued with competence, capacity, and credibility to win the elections to lead Nigeria in the coming administration next year. Okay, moving on now to Daily Sun. Wike BOT meeting inconclusive as Atiku flags up campaign October 10th. NNPC posts 674 billion naira profit after tax in 2021. FG slams 30 billion naira suit on Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, others over tax. Tinubu won't show medical fitness certificate, says APC. PSC approves dismissal of 7 police officers for misconduct, demotes 10 others. Sanwo-Olu announces pay rise for Lagos civil servants. Explosion rocks Rivers oil wells. And INEC clears 837 candidates for Guba elections. Okay, which story are we starting with?
ACON, the federal government, the Advertising Regulatory Council of Nigeria, have sued Meta Platforms Incorporated, owners of Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp, and their agents, 83 Resources Limited. They say that this suit is not to regulate online or online media space, but the suit is rather, regulate advertising, marketing communications on online platforms and in line with the established rules. So they are suing them for 30 billion naira, which is supposed to be the costs that they've lost through advertising for businesses related to Nigeria and in Nigeria, and never following the rules, regulations, or the law. According to them, the suit is before the Federal High Court in Abuja, and they are seeking a declaration, among others, that the continued publication and exposure of various advertisements directed at the Nigerian market through Facebook and Instagram platforms by Meta Platforms Incorporated without ensuring that the same is vetted and approved before exposure is illegal and is unlawful and a violation of the extant advertising laws in Nigeria. They said that this has led to loss of revenue to the federal government, and they're seeking 30 billion naira sanction on top of their head.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so there was a gentleman, the National Publicity Secretary of the APC, was being asked a question yesterday. That's Mr. Felix Moka, about the health of the candidates of the APC. And he was saying that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is fit as a fiddle. That yes, his body might be old because of his age, but he's actually very fit, and he attends all meetings late into the night. And he's not a medical doctor, but he can definitely assure that he has observed him over several months of late night meetings, and he's as fit as a fiddle. And that the only way he'll be compelled to release his medical certificate is if all the candidates are equally asked to do so. That's the only condition he'll be willing to release his own medical fitness.
So fire explosions rocked an oil field operated by Aeroton Exploration and Production Limited in Akuku Toru, a local government area of Rivers State. The National Oil Spills Detection and Response Agency received a message about the fire incident at 2 oil wells operated by Aeroton Exploration. And it said the incident occurred at Akaso Wells 14 and 40 wellheads on Monday. So they had to get their emergency response team, ART, immediately mobilized to the site. And before this happened, they said they saw an illegal vessel just around that oil well, but the vessel was burnt beyond recognition, and the oil wells too are still on fire. So they had to send out to a vendor. The company has mobilized the vendor to come and, take out the fire. So they are still going to be carrying out a lot of investigations to really ascertain what happened. It could be as a result of oil theft that was going on, and then it exploded.
All right, the Nigerian Tribune. Let's find a story we have not taken. 3-year-old, 5 others die as flood continues to ravage Kogi. Buhari confers integrity award to policeman who rejected $200,000 bribe. PSC dismisses 7 senior officers. Anambra shuts down schools for overflooding. Sanwo-Olu announces salary increment for workers. Peace talks with Wike work in progress as BOT. And APC to inaugurate campaign council October 10th. Right, which story are we starting?
Okay, quickly, I love that the Tribune has given some sections to the flood in Kogi State. And according to the president of Ibaji Unity Forum, 6 persons, including a 3-year-old, lost their lives. Also, the House of Assembly lost their quarters in Lokoja due to the flood. And he said that the 3-year-old fell into the river and died. And just as he added that the number of victims is low because of majority of the people that can swim in that area. But that is not according to the international news that I took yesterday. He said that most of the people around can swim, and so there were no such loss of lives. But,
in a similar story, the governor in Anambra State, also Governor Soludo, has also closed all the schools along the flood-prone areas. He said that it's been shut down until further notice.
There's also reports in the Tribune on the effect of the flood on the rice farms. It is very, very detailed. I think people should read that to understand how this would affect food prices and
across the country.
Following a flood usually is drought, and I hope that we are able to deal with it.
So the divisional police officer of police headquarters at Bompai, Kano, Daniel Ama, was on Tuesday conferred with Public Service Integrity Award by President Muhammadu Buhari. And this was done because he rejected $200,000 that was given to him as bribe to kill a case involving a Bureau de Change operator, one Ali Zaki. And this guy conspired to rob a Nigerian to the tune of $750,000. So he did not only reject the bribe, he also ensured that the suspect was brought to book. So when the president conferred this integrity award to him, he was, admonishing all the other police officers to, take this as a cue to do the right thing at all times. Congratulations to Mr. Ama. We need to celebrate such people.
Okay, that's all we can take on Front Page Review. When we come back, we move on to our next segment. Stay with us. We'll be right back.